Hey everybody, what's up? It's Hans. Today I want to talk about medium format and not just like medium format film or medium format digital, but what is medium format? What makes medium format special? Namely, what I've seen a lot of in the last couple of weeks with the release of the new Fuji camera, the GFX 100, is that people are talking about the medium format look. Is there a medium format look? Yes. Yes, there is a medium format look. The problem is digital medium format isn't really medium format. Okay, now let's start from the beginning. First of all, what makes medium format medium format? What makes it different from a 35 millimeter format, say? And the answer is three things. One, resolution. Like medium format is inherently a larger format. You can fit more, whether it be pixels or film space or whatever it is. It's bigger, so it has the capability of having more resolution. Next is tonality. Now, tonality is just the function of going from either light to dark or color to color and how that transition looks. What does the change look like? And with medium format, you have a larger sensor, so you have more time to make that change. Therefore, you can have smoother transitions. That's a really, really important part of what it means to be medium format. And lastly, and this is the one that people get really hung up about, with medium format, you have shallower depth of field at a given field of view. Not at a millimeter, so not like 35 millimeter. That's not what we're talking about here. We're talking about a field of view. So if, say, you have I'll equate it to film cameras because that's what I know more of. But say you have a 35 millimeter camera here that has a 50 millimeter lens on it, say. On here, you have the RZ67, you have probably closer to about 100 or 105 or so will be the equivalent to a 50 millimeter lens. They're not the same millimeters, but they're the same field of view, okay? They cover the same area. Now that's important because medium format cameras don't typically have those ultra wide aperture lenses. So like I think the widest aperture medium format lenses that I've seen have been about like a 1.9 on the Mamiya 645, which is very wide, but on a 35 millimeter style, you can have what? 0.95. So there, a lot of people get hung up saying, well, there's no medium format look because you can just compensate for it on 35 millimeter by opening up to a wider aperture. And that's true. But remember, there are two other components of medium format cameras and medium format lenses, and those are the tonality and the resolution. Now, the resolution you still can get by with because you've got these ultra, with technology being what it is, you've got packed sensors with packed pixels, and you can get a lot of resolution in those sensors. But then you've still got tonality. And tonality is the big hang up that people kind of forget about. And that's where you see a lot of people swearing up and down that there is a difference between medium format digital or medium format film and 35 millimeter digital and 35 millimeter film. It's because there is a difference in the tonality. The tonality, the changes are smoother. And that's really hard to quantify, especially when you're looking at it on like a Instagram or on small prints. But when you start to look at larger prints, then you can really see those transitions and it starts to make more sense as to what that medium format look is. But if you're just looking for shallow depth of field, no, you're not gonna see the big difference because you can compensate for that. Like I said, you can just open up that aperture on 35 millimeter and there you go, you've got the equivalent. So don't get hung up on that definition, that one portion of what it means to be medium format, because believe it or not, you can stop down on medium format. You don't have to shoot wide open. That look that is in fashion right now is only a small portion of what it means to be medium format. I mean, like most people, like you look at the Annie Leibowitzes out there and whatnot, they were shooting at f8, f11. They were still shooting medium format. It still had a look. There was still greater tonality. There was a reason that they were shooting medium format. it wasn't because it had shallow depth of field. It was because of those two other things. It had better tonality and it had better resolution for the time. Which brings me to the final fact about medium format digital. Medium format digital is not medium format. Okay. I shouldn't be a crotchety old man about this. I should just say, you know what? The definition of medium format has changed over time. It is what it is. Digital is digital. But you can't get that shallow depth of field, that tonality, that whatever it is, that je ne sais quoi of medium format, like the Holy Trinity all together in one spot, because it's just not big enough. The sensor just isn't big enough. And I know that people who don't have the experience with film don't really understand what I'm talking about here. So I got some facts here, and I'm gonna look at them because I suck at numbers. So when we're talking about the area of a sensor or the area of a plane of film, like 35 millimeter or 6x45 or 6.7 or 6.9, whatever it is, okay, there is a bigger difference between a crop sensor and a full frame sensor than there is between a full frame sensor and the Fuji GFX 100, relatively speaking. So from a crop sensor to a full frame sensor, there's a 2.3 times size increase. Now from full frame to the GFX, there's only a 1.7 times increase. Now if you look at film medium format, actual medium format, from full frame to the smallest medium format size, which is 6.45, there's a 2.7 times increase from full frame. Now, if you go up to 6x7, which is what this camera is, there was a 4.76 times increase in area from full frame. That's why you can see it on film. And that's not taking anything away from digital medium format. It's just when you go looking for these characteristics in digital medium format, you're not going to find all three of them, at least not as dramatically as you do with film. So anyway, yes, there is a medium format look. And just because you can compensate for it and overcome some of these factors and make it look similar doesn't mean that the look doesn't exist. You know, it's like saying like, okay, well, an 85 millimeter lens does not have a look because I could just take a 50 millimeter lens and then just crop into the middle and it's the exact same thing. Therefore, an 85 millimeter lens doesn't have a look. Yeah, it does. That doesn't mean that you can't change it. You know, you can't compensate in some way to gain the equivalent of it in another way. You totally can. But there are characteristics that medium format has that 35 millimeter either doesn't or doesn't do quite as well. That's just physics. That's just the way that it is. I think a lot of people get defensive about this for no reason at all. I mean, these cameras that are coming out are amazing, you know, and the dynamic range and the low light performance and all these things are fantastic. But like when something comes out like the Sony a7R4 and it is what, 60 megapixels? So that definitely is qualifying in the resolution department for, you know, approaching and exceeding many digital medium format cameras, and certainly exceeding medium format film cameras, because I don't care what you say, a digital sensor is going to out-resolve film in that size. You know, when you start getting to large format, maybe it can compete, but you don't shoot with medium format film for the resolution. Sorry, digital just is better. You know, fight me. Don't fight me. I'm not a fighter. So when you get a camera like a Sony a7R4 that's being compared to medium format, they're not completely wrong. I mean, resolution-wise, it can certainly compete. And depth of field-wise, yeah, absolutely. All you got to do is throw some fast glass on it, and you're going to be equivalent or exceeding the shallow depth that a medium format camera is capable of. But the sticking point is going to be the tonality. There's just a bigger surface on a medium format camera, whether that be digital or film. Now, that difference is not going to be as dramatic because these are crop sensor medium format cameras. They're not full medium format, but there is a difference. There definitely is a difference. You're just not going to see it in just depth of field. I hope that clears things up without making the waters even muddier. Feel free to leave comments down below, and we'll see you soon.